Hello, my name's Mark and welcome to RCHacker. Now today, this is a follow-up to my last video where I attempted to make a new antenna for my OpenLRS system, but the design was completely wrong. An amateur radio guy, Rob, got on the comments there and pointed out that the way I was feeding it was completely wrong. Now I did tune that antenna and I did get some half-decent results out of it, but it probably wasn't working as well as it could. So what I've done instead, I've made an inverted V antenna to go on the transmitter. This is from IB Crazy's, one of IB Crazy's articles, and strictly speaking it's not fed correctly. Sorry, that's my radio alarm going off. Strictly speaking, it's not fed correctly. Like, you should really have some sort of transformer here to get the impedance matching correct, but I've got the coax here and then it goes directly out here. But this section of coax can apparently act as a bit of an antenna as well and mess it up a little bit, but I'm hoping that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Now if I zoom out here, zoom in out in the garden here, I don't know if we can see that. Out there I've got my receiver module. You may just be able to see the antenna on it. That's got the same style of antenna soldered directly to the board. I'll show you that later. So back to this one, we're going to tune this antenna, and now what I've done, it's actually 19 centimeters long. The target is 16.4 centimeters long by my calculations for a quarter wave. And you can see here I've marked the antenna in 5mm increments all the way down. And I've done that on both sides here. So what we're going to do, I've also got, you'll have a look, I've got the FTDI serial to USB converter plugged into my OpenLRS module, which is inside here, and it's spitting out, you can see there, the RSSI values. Now if I move around, let's see if I can do this. If I move my hand around the antenna there, you can see it changing. I pick up the radio, I'm picking up the radio now. You can see how much that signal changes as I move the transmitter around. So when we do this testing, it's very important that I have the radio placed in the same place, and that all the surrounding environment is also the same. So I'm going to put the radio up here and I'm going to sit down fairly low, and that's going to be my position for reading the values. Now also, as we cut these down, I'm going to turn the radio off each time, because apparently the static electricity can damage your receiver module. If you're standing on a carpet and then you touch a bare antenna, that static can damage your module. So I'm going to have to turn it off each time. So basically this is just going to be a lot of cutting and reading, and then we'll see what result we get. Let's go. Okay, now that's all done. Here are my raw values, and just to make it easier, I've plotted them here, and basically we can see along this axis is the RSSI value, and along here is the length in millimeters, and it corresponds to between 160 and 165 was where we got our maximum RSSI value, which corresponds to the mathematics that I did in the previous video of 164 or thereabouts. So I'm pretty happy with that. That's an excellent result, and I'm going to stick with the maths in calculating the lengths of these inverted V antennas. Okay, so I was pretty happy with that. The theory matched up with the practice exactly, so I've done something right this time. Now, all we have to do now is replace these, because they're obviously too short now, replace these with their about 160-165mm length of wire, and rebuild that antenna. And yeah, I'll just show you as well. This is the mathematics that I went over in the last video. I included a 95% velocity factor in there, and then we used 2.98 by 10 to the 6 as the speed of light to calculate our quarter wavelength, which turned out to be 163mm, and that was right in between those peaks that we saw on that graph that I had earlier. Okay, lastly, I'll show you what I've done with the receiver unit. What I've done, I've soldered our wires directly to the board. I removed the actual connector. It's quite tricky, you probably should have a heat gun to remove that, but I managed it with a soldering iron. And I've also glued on the end here, put just a little dab of, just a small dab of hot glue on the tip there, so it stops me touching the bare copper there. This wire is magnet wire, so it's actually coated. And the aim with this receiver is basically, I'm going to fit it in my wing here, you know, something like that. I'm probably going to embed it in the wing like that out on the wingtip, and I might even take off all these pin headers and stuff and give it a nice low profile and embed it in there, some way like that. I'll work it out. There you go, tuning an antenna. Cheers, thanks for watching.